We are joined now by the head football coach of the Eastern Kentucky Colonels, Walt Wells. Coach Wells, thanks for being with us.
Appreciate you having me. Look forward to it.
Let's start with this. You guys are transitioning to a new conference, ultimately to the ASUN. This year's schedule will be a mixture with the WAC. But what does this move in conferences do for your program? What does it mean moving forward for the program?
Well, I think it shows the importance that our university is placing on intercollegiate athletics as a whole. For football, for them forming a new conference, I think it shows that we're serious about football here at EKU, and it's a prideful sport that has had a lot of success throughout the years here, and that we're trying to give us an opportunity to come back and bring some of that pride back. Not that it's ever really been gone, but you know what I mean. You want to play in a conference where there is competition day in and day out. And I think with our new conference, even this year, obviously with the national champions being in it, Stephen F., who played us and beat us last year, Central Arkansas, who we split with, and the list goes on. There's a lot of really good football teams in this. And so I think it'll be more than a one bid team league. I think you'll see 2 to maybe 3 or 4 get bids out of this league. So, excited about the opportunity to play new teams, bring new people into Roy Kidd Stadium, and fill it up and have people enjoy that experience.
Talk about a little bit more about that pride of EKU football. You were an assistant under Coach Kidd, and that was kind of the heyday. He's the guy when you think of EKU football coaches. And so you obviously have some history then in the university. How are you teaching that history to the kids on your team?
Well, I think, the most important thing is, they've heard it. They've been around it, whether it was through the previous coaching staff or myself or just reading up on the EKU. You can't miss it. I mean, Coach's statue is right here overlooking the stadium, which is where it should be. He's got a list of every player and every former coach and GA and trainer and manager and support staff. I mean, Coach Kidd is EKU football. He is EKU, in my opinion. The stadium's named after him, the road's named after him, and a lot of people would have never known who EKU was if it wasn't for EKU's football team and the success they had. So, with that being said, it's not been as successful as it was in some of those periods of times, which was the late 70s all the way to the mid 90s, late 90s a little bit. So there has been success and there has been championships. I know Danny won a championship and Dean won 2, and they did a great job here. But, it's a consistency in performance that we're looking for, and we're looking forward to this team trying to be the building block of bringing EKU football back to what it's expected. And, it's a process that's going to be ongoing, and we've, everybody wants to be quicker than later. And I understand that, and I appreciate that. But the standard that Coach Kidd set here, as a player, as an assistant, and then as the head coach, will never be matched. I mean, but we're just trying to give our own piece of it back to EKU and into what he had represented so fondly.
I grew up near Middle Tennessee State University, and my dad always told me, back in the day, the heyday, oh man, MTSU, EKU, Western, those kinds of teams there. With the transitioning in conference, is there a method behind kind of starting a new tradition, a new rivalry, anything like that, or are we just sticking with the old stuff and still working on beating the in-state guys?
Well, I think right now we don't have any in-state guys on our schedule, so
yeah.
we'll obviously we want to play Western, we want to play Murray and teams that that are going to play us, and Kentucky and Louisville. We're playing Louisville. I shouldn't say we don't have any. We have Louisville on our schedule this year, but we as I was thinking of the teams you were mentioning, for us it's all about getting in a conference that's going to challenge you week in and week out. Because iron sharpens iron. And we have to be able to do that. And we want to chase greatness. We don't want to, flounder and maybe be good every now and then and things like that. I mean, I think that's as a university, that's as an athletic program. And then obviously that's, as a football program is what my hands are touching. And so we think that that will provide us an opportunity, whether or not we win the conference, we may, we have an opportunity to get in the playoffs. If you look at the record, 79 national championship team didn't win the conference, but they won a national championship. I left here in 2002, and in 2003 went to Western Kentucky. Well, they just won a national championship in 2002 under Jack Harbaugh, and they didn't win. They came in third in their conference, but they were in such a good conference, in the Gateway Conference at that time, that they were able to get into playoffs. They were on a roll, and the roll continued. And, they ended up winning a national championship, their first ever in football, and only, I think. And so, it's important that you play really good teams along the way, and that you're getting tested week in and week out. It raises a standard for your administration. It raises a standard for your recruiting. It raises a standard on how you do a lot of things. And so that's what we have to do. And I think my experience in the SEC has taught me that. I think my experience in the Gateway Conference taught me that. And my playing experience in the OVC, when the OVC had all those teams you were mentioning, taught me that too. I mean, it was a tough conference. And so you knew week in and week out, there was no team you're going to go out there and roll your hat against. And that doesn't build you up. That just makes you feel good on Saturday night, probably.
Yeah, I thought we were getting a subtle dig at Louisville there for a second. I thought,
no.
Great.
I was thinking, FBS
no, I got you.
Schedule, not FBS. No, we got a tall task week 2. I promise you that.
Definitely.
A lot of those guys over there are good coaches and good people, and we're going to worry about Western Carolina right now.
Definitely. We'll get to Western Carolina in just a second. Let's talk about your team this year. Several transfers in. You added some really high-quality players to the team through the transfers and things like that. Of course, you've got a good class coming in as well. You've also got some solid veterans on the team already. So let's talk just briefly about, a lot of people are saying, talking about your defense and kind of overlooking the offense a little bit. So let's start with the defense, though, because it's incredibly deep.
Right.
And very stacked, including the new people, but with the veterans that are here as well. So what are you excited about with your defense this year?
Well, we just finished our first scrimmage on Saturday, and our defense had a really good day. Our offense had some didn't finish drives like we wanted them to, but they had some good moments. And so I'm really excited about the team as a whole. So I don't want it to overshadow that part of it, but our defense really did some good things. And I love, first and foremost, how they're playing fast and how they're playing physical. I think you cannot play football at any level or any position where you're just constantly thinking. Now, you have to think, and you have to know your assignment, and you have to do all that. But I love the way they're playing fast, and they're playing with some physicality, and they're playing as a unit. And I feel like Jake Johnson, our defensive coordinator, and the rest of our staff has done a great job in building that mentality in them. We finally had spring practice. We finally had, winter conditioning. We finally had everything that we missed last year that I think brought that on. We've added some really good pieces that are going to end up starting for us or playing heavily for us, and they're making a difference. They grew our defense up a little bit because we were relatively young, and so I'm excited about watching those guys play. I mean, we got 2 transfers in that I think are going to make an immediate impact, are John Blunt and Kyle Bailey, both from Western Kentucky, which is not popular to say around here, but Western didn't want them, or they didn't want Western, I should say, and so we got them, and we're excited about them. They're good people, they're good players, and I really think they're going to be good teammates, and so really excited about them. We've got a deep defensive front, and where Quentin Floyd had the best day I've seen him have since he's been around, and Quentin was here when we got here, and played some last year and worked hard for us last year, or played a lot last year, I should say, and he's done a really nice job. We got a true freshman that played last year named Ryan Jackson at nose guard that's really coming on and doing some good things, and Shane Burks is right behind him and doing a nice job. So I'm really excited about where we're at and the depth we have and the competition we have now. I feel like last year we probably didn't have that, whether it was to opt out, transfers, whatever. And this year we're really solid with what we're doing on defense, and we've got a ways to go still, and we still got time to get there. So I feel like we will, but really excited about how fast they're playing right now.
On offense, I've heard you say, you've kind of been pigeonholed because you're an offensive line coach for so long. Everyone just assumes it's going to be run. But you've talked about the way the game has changed and the need to open the offense up like that. You got some talented wide receivers. You have a decent run game as well. Some experience at quarterback. Also, offensive line looks pretty solid. So on the offensive side of the ball, obviously you're not going to tell us your game plan, but what's it looking like on the offense?
Well, I feel good where we're at town. We got probably more new parts on offense than we do on defense. And so with that, even normally your offense is behind anyway. Now with the new parts comes, learning each other and being behind, because it's just a timing thing on offense. And that's probably what was wrong with us Saturday when I watched the tape. When I left the field, that's what I felt. When I watched the tape, that's what I felt. We're just not in sync like we should be. Parker McKinney's our quarterback. He's done a great job in camp, did a great job last year until he got hurt. Really talented individual from Knoxville, Tennessee area, Cofield, Tennessee. Really pleased with his camp. We brought in Cord Sandberg, who was a backup quarterback at Auburn last year, and he's coming in and he's competing for the job. And he's really talented, but like anything, it takes a while to learn it when you miss spring and, you're going through everything. But he's shown flashes of a lot of athleticism and a strong arm. Up front, we've got depth. We've got numbers. We have to come together and play together, and that's hard to do early in camp with all the different things that, the defense is moving. They're doing all the different things they do. But I feel we will be solid up front. I like where we're at. Andy Richmond is our offensive coordinator, and he does a really good job. I've known Andy since 2002, I guess it was, when he came here to be my GA, my last year here. And Andy's been at Wisconsin, been a Valdosta State's coordinator when they won a national championship. So he's been around it all. And the only thing that, I tell Andy is, and I'm an eye for him, obviously, and help him. But the only thing I want Andy to do is pump the ball down the field, because we've got receivers that can go get it. We've got a quarterback that can get it down there, and I feel like we've got a line that can protect. So, and you come to watch us play, you're going to see us stretch the field and throw the ball downfield. Are we going to complete them all? Well, I hope so, but I don't know if we will. But you're going to see the ball fly, and then we've got 2 to 4 really, 5 really, I guess you think about it, good running backs. I mean, I think we've hit that position really well. We've had Keiondre Mcluhan, who was a state leading rusher in the state of Florida his senior year. Of all divisions, came out of the spring as the number 1. Brought in DeJohn Hewitt, who was from Nashville, Tennessee, played at Davidson Academy, and he's transferred from Purdue, who's looked really good. And then Braden Sloan and Jariah Hightower are both doing real well, and along with Telly McAllister. So, Braden's from Wayne County. I said on signing day, I thought he was a steal of the, I call it the draft, steal of the draft, and I still think that he's a really talented player, good size, good speed, good maturity, and so I'm excited about all that. And then we moved Dak Allen, our former quarterback, to wideout. Now we went from losing 2 or 3 tight ends to having and I was going to go out and maybe get one from the portal. Now I've got one from the portal. He's just from our portal, and very, very athletic, very physical, learning how to play the position, but especially with the blocking aspects, but very willing to block, good teammate, and just really proud of Dak and what he's doing. And Malik Owens, who's doing well and is a redshirt. I guess he's a redshirt sophomore, redshirt freshman. There's still debate on what this COVID stuff is doing, but he's going into his 3rd year. So Malik's got a lot of size and a lot of ability. He's just got to continue to push. And then we've got 2 guys behind him, Reese Atkins and Jake Sloan, who are young and learning and both improving daily. So I'm excited about it. I really am. I can't wait. I said it last week. I can't wait till the scrimmage to come around, and then it came around. And now I can't wait for the next one, because I want to see how much we improve in a week. We had the day off. Today was the first day of class, so I gave them all off, make sure they all went to class so they didn't get dropped out of school or anything. And then we'll be back at it tomorrow.
We talked with Ted Gumbert, the ASUN commissioner, last year, right when the announcement was made that EKU was moving in, and there was a lot of optimism from him. I've heard other people talk about EKU football this year. There's a lot of just excitement around the program as a whole, which is really neat to see. What does this team need to do this year for you to consider it a successful season?
Well, I think anytime you want it to be successful, you want to be competing for a championship at the end of the year. People remember what you do in November, and
Right.
so we've got to make sure that we're in the conversation in November. The biggest thing, that's the tangible thing that everybody sees. The thing that I want to see is us play consistently every week, and not be on a roller coaster ride of up and down, but consistently just get better and better each week and compete each week. Like I told the team the other night, we're going into a schedule in a league where there is no blowouts. There is no, all right, this one's going to be easy this week. Let's blah 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 blah. And in some cases, there in the past, whether it was here or at other places I've been, that's been the case. There is none for us. Okay, so we're going to have to go out and compete every week. And I asked him, I said, "What's the results you're looking for?" "Oh, we want to do this." No. We just want to be 1 point better than the other team every week, and that's all we want to be. But we don't look at the scoreboard until the end. We just want to consistently play EKU football the way it's supposed to be played, the way you're being coached, the way you're being demanded to play, and go out there and play it. And when we wake up at the end of the game and 60 minutes is off, hopefully we're the winners.
Western Carolina is the first game of the season. I know it can't get here soon enough for you. You'll be on the road for that game. An interesting team. A lot of change has been made for Western Carolina. They got a quarterback in Rogan Wells. He's thrown for 84 touchdowns and ran for 27 touchdowns throughout his career. Very experienced quarterback. I honestly don't know a whole lot about Western Carolina outside of that.
Yeah.
So what are you looking at for that game? What do you have to watch for and be prepared for?
Well, I think the biggest thing we gotta worry about ourselves. We gotta know what we do. We gotta know how to adjust. Obviously, we've gone all over from where their coaches have been and tried to pull, get tape and study what they did at the certain stops they've been at. We're familiar with the quarterback because he was at Valdosta, went in the portal. We looked at him and had some conversations with him. And just ended up going in a different direction. And he went to Tusculum last year, where Kerwin's son was, and now he's back with Kerwin at Western Carolina. And they were a talented team last year. Now I know they got hit with the portal, and we're trying to figure out who all portal guys they brought in. But so it'll always be interesting. And they didn't have spring ball and things, but they're going to be a good team. Their kids have pride. And the way the game ended last year, they're going to be prideful about that. And so we know we're going to get their best shot. It's opening day for new staff, everybody. Labor Day weekend's a big weekend up in Cullowhee. No hotel rooms around. I don't know if they're all coming to the game, but no hotel rooms around. And so it'll be a fun experience for our kids and be a fun experience for us. And we need to go out there and play EKU football and just do what we know how to do and do it consistently. And if we do it consistently at a high level, then we'll be fine.
Awesome. Coach Walt Wells with EKU, and our first official guest on the Sports Stove Local Hour episode. So we surely appreciate your time, Coach, and good luck this season.
Well, I appreciate being the first. Thanks for having me. Look forward to it in the future, too.
Yes, sir.